What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, and welcome back to another video for you guys today. And we have got a Passover special today. As you can see in the background, the 10 Tottenham plagues we're going to be going through. And what that means is we're going to be looking at the top 10 Tottenham disasters that we've lived through, and we're going to talk to you about our memories of them and
we are
just
very
how
much
bad they are and that kind of stuff. What were you about to say?
We are very much a plagued club,
Yes,
so we're literally
we
the perfect club to do this video for. But yeah, obviously we all know the 10 plagues of the Passover story, so we thought we'd put together a top 10 for you guys of the Tottenham, the top 10 times Spurs have been plagued, pretty much.
There has been many more than this.
There's probably
but
many more.
These are the 10 that really stick out in our memories. So look, let's get straight into
lucky
it.
there wasn't 20 plagues on, weren't there?
It's true.
We're probably lucky
it's
about
true.
that.
We could probably fill the 50 plagues.
Definitely.
But look, let's start off with number 10. And number 10 is the Pedro Mendes ghost goal of Old Trafford. What year was that in?
2005.
2005.
New Year's Day, I think, actually, even.
Yeah, I remember it so clearly. I remember watching it with you in the front room in the house.
My God.
And Pedro Mendes takes a swipe at the ball on literally the stroke of the full-time whistle, and it goes all literally over the stands, comes drooping down onto Roy Carroll. He spills it like that. He tries to catch the ball. It goes over his shoulder. It bounces over the line, and then Roy Carroll kind of like claims it from over the line. Linesman didn't give it. And
no goal line technology back then.
Exactly, no goal line technology, and it was just an absolute farce. Everybody could see it. Everyone in the stands could see it. Everyone on TV could see it. I mean, it was a complete joke, wasn't it?
Literally, the referee was the only person in the ground who didn't see the
line
over the line. Yeah, so frustrating. I remember the commentator at the moment going, "It's a travesty! It's an absolute travesty!" I remember that so clearly. And we hadn't won at Old Trafford back then for like nigh on 16 years or something like that. A long time. Yeah. And maybe even longer, and we had to wait another 7 years after that goal wasn't given to finally get that win at Old Trafford.
The best bit of that was Martin Yole's comments after the game.
Yeah, well, yeah, he said, what did he say? He was like,
I walked into the ref's room and I go,
he goes, am I allowed to call you a prick? And he's like, you can't call me that. It's like, I'm a referee. You can't call me that. He's like, am I allowed to think you're a prick? And he goes, you can think what you want. He goes, I think you're a prick.
I love Martin. I love Martin so much.
Best line I've ever seen. Yeah. Martin Yole ever saying that. We obviously get a lot of love from the Tottenham fans. But yeah, that was one of the worst times we were plagued, for sure.
Yeah, number 10, that coming in at number 10. At number 9, we are going for selling Berbatov and Robbie Keane in the same window, which ultimately led us to the season where we sacked Juan de Ramos, got 2 points from 8 games on the back of a Carabao Cup win in 2008 as well. And then obviously Harry Redknapp came in that season, and the rest was kind of history after that. But God, how did Juan de Ramos let Daniel Levy get away with that? Selling
murder.
Keane and Berbatov in the same window.
Arguably our best ever strike partnership, of the Premier League era, like arguably that, and potentially.
Well, yeah, and until Sonny and Kane came along.
Yeah, I mean before then, up until that point, it definitely was, and they were literally. If it wasn't for Berbatov and Keane, like we were consistently getting in Europe. We won the League Cup, and they both played really well in the final. They were a joy to watch and play together. And Liverpool came calling, and Man United came calling for both of them. We sold them for a combined fee of 50 million, but that wasn't the biggest crime. there's a big crime selling. The biggest crime of all was replacing him with Pavlyuchenko and Fraser Campbell on loan. I mean, Man United must have been laughing in that after the negotiated with Levy, sweetening the deal with Fraser Campbell on loan, because he was one of the biggest flops we ever had. He literally scored 1 goal, I think, throughout his time at Spurs, and really shocking piece of brinkmanship from Daniel Levy there. And it took us a while to recover from that, and get players we needed. But
it probably up until we got Harry Kane. Up until Harry Kane made his name for Spurs, that's when we recovered from it.
Literally, and we ended up re-signing Robbie Keane in January, but I think there's something changed in him in that 6-month spell.
He lost a lot of confidence from that spell.
He wasn't the same player, and obviously Berbatov never returned. But yeah, that was one of the biggest plagues we've definitely had, selling both of them and replacing with Campbell and Pavlyuchenko, who just has Redknapp famous said, just effing run about a bit, just run about a bit. That was his tactics for Pavlyuchenko. It worked. It did work a bit,
even though Pavlyuchenko didn't speak a word of English.
Yeah, exactly. He had to reward. He had to. He said, "What did Redknapp say? He's translated in more running on the pitch than Pavlyuchenko used to do to run on."
Redknapp has some brilliant stories about Pav.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But unfortunately, yeah, that was a big plague.
Moving on, number 8, we're going to go for selling Bale for the Magnificent Seven.
And not so magnificent in the end.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the Magnificent Seven is I've got it here in front of me: Paulinho, Christian Eriksen, Roberto Soldado, Nasir Chadli, Etienne Capoue, Vlad Chiriches, and Eric Lamela. When Eric Lamela is the only survivor.
Still, yeah, just about. And you would say with all those 7, I think 5 of them only lasted 1 or 2 years. We're gone within the first 2 years.
The only ones where you can say, the only one I would say where you can say it was a resounding success was Eriksen. Everyone else, you can even argue Eric Lamela's a flop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can argue it for sure.
So look, Chiriches was just complete rubbish.
Capoue.
Etienne Capoue went on to play well for Watford.
Paulinho was an awful ass.
Paulinho,
he was terrible.
Yeah.
Went on to play for Barcelona somehow.
Yeah, Soldado is Soldado. Chadli, I actually rated Chadli when he was at Spurs. I thought he was very underrated.
But selling Bell and bringing those 7 in, they say selling Elvis and signing the Beatles.
Yeah, who said that? I think it was Glenn Hoddle, was it?
Garth Crooks, I think, might have said that, or something like that. I mean, couldn't be more wrong, really. And it set us back a couple of years, really. Those transfers
up until Poch did that clear out.
Pretty much, yeah. Obviously, yeah. Pretty much. It cost us a couple of years of development, and it will really set us back. And obviously Bale went on to do amazing things. I reckon Bale probably scored more goals by himself than all those 7 combined. Probably.
What more than... Because Eriksen's, he's got quite a few goals, Eriksen.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think so, actually.
We wouldn't be far off, probably. For Spurs, I don't think it would be far off.
Maybe.
So, Bale, selling Bale and bringing those 7 was a big burden on the club, and we didn't really overcome it till we shifted most of them on. So, obviously, it also led to the AVB tenure and Showa tenure, and they couldn't get a tune out of them, and Pochettino was like, let's just bin them all, pretty much. And, that was really, really awful. So, that comes in next.
All right, and number 7 is that disastrous defeat, 5-1 on the last game of the season against Newcastle. I mean, I remember that day so clearly. Like, everyone was licking their lips like, yeah, we finished above Arsenal finally.
Today's going to be the day.
We're going to finish 3rd, finally. We're going to finish above Arsenal. But what happened? We got absolutely smashed in that game. Moussa Sissoko and Andros Townsend, I remember, just completely running rings around us.
Not only did we get smashed, we got smashed by an already relegated Newcastle. And I remember they were already relegated, so people were already saying, oh, they're relegated, they're not going to put up a fight, whatever, no one cares. Then we go 2-0 down early and we're thinking, oh, God, all right, we still got time to pull this back. We get a goal back, you think, okay, game on. And then Mitrovic got sent off. And then we were 2-1 down with the sending off. We're back and the momentum's with us. We're like, okay, we got this. All we needed was a draw as well.
Nobody can explain to me what exactly happened after that sending off point.
I don't know, because all we needed was a draw in that game.
We looked like we were getting back into the game at one stage.
Lamela just scored. We're getting back into it. Like, okay, just need 1 goal against 10 men. Easy. And then we concede 3. I've never seen anything like it. The biggest capitulation I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it was...
We're going to talk about some more.
Well, actually, not the biggest. Up until that point, one of the biggest. I mean, it was horrific. It was so embarrassing. And then Arsenal went on to win 4-0 against Villa. And they obviously pipped us to 2nd place.
And that was the whole who came 3rd in a 2-horse race, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was us at the end of the day. And that was shambolic. Pochettino famously saying they were lucky that there was the end of the season, because if it wasn't, he would have been in extra training for the next 2 weeks or something after that game. And he was so angry. He said he couldn't be more angry after that game, the way we chucked it in like that. But yeah, losing 5-1 to Newcastle was a real low point on that season.
All right, and number 6, we are going into the Carabao Cup semi-final, losing to the kids, the Arsenal's kids in the Carabao Cup semi-final, the kids that beat the Yids. I was at both legs. And
I was on the first leg, yeah.
I mean, the first leg was at the Emirates, right?
No, first leg was...
second leg was at the Emirates when Mido took us to extra time. And I just remember that moment when Mido took us to extra time was... It was the first time I'd ever been to the Emirates, and that the away end just literally shook. And it was actually a great moment for me. But... how it all ended with those kids, Ali Adier and those characters. Knocking us out, knocking our first team out in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup.
It's embarrassing. In the first leg, Arsenal obviously had that second string team, like as you said, like Traore and Justin Hoyt and all these rubbish players,
Wastemen,
like literal wastemen, and like they put them out in the first leg. We took a 2-0 lead, like for first like half an hour we were like battering them. We were like, okay, it's gonna be easy, and then Baptista comes in and just snatches 2 goals in the second half. They get a 2-2 draw, and then you're thinking, whatever, we can go to the Emirates. We had enough encouragement, and Emirates, that goal for me though, like was going against the run of play. They battered us pretty much that whole game, and it was Ricardo Rocha in extra time, slipping inside the penalty box, giving Ali Adier the goal, and they went on to win 3-1 in the second leg, and it was so embarrassing losing to Arsenal's youth team, pretty much kids. So embarrassing for us at the time, having our first team, and it meant a lot as well because we hadn't won a trophy in ages, and like the League Cup meant a lot to us.
We got our own back the next year though.
We did. We got a bit of revenge the next year, but it was a year of suffering, really suffering. You know,
we battered them 5-1 in the semi-final the next year.
Yeah, so we had to,
and we won the cup as well. So.
Bit of revenge.
It was worth waiting for, in my opinion.
But it definitely hurt that year, losing to the Arsenal youth team.
All right, let's go on to number 5. And number 5 is fresh in the memory as we go to Croatia, taking a 2-0 lead to Croatia for the Europa League last 16, and then obviously crashing out in extra time, losing 2-0. It was actually 0-0 at half time. How we lost that game. Orsic scoring a hat-trick. And, you know, lack of characters, lack of passion, lack of fight, lack of attitude, lack of everything on the field that day. And, yeah, it was just a disaster class completely.
Yeah. Definitely, in terms of in the Europa League, definitely probably our most embarrassing result in the Europa League since we've been in that competition. To go 2-0 up against a team like Zagreb, and then to put in the performance you did in the second leg, to not even get a goal, and also just needing one goal, and could have got us through, and we couldn't even get it, and conceding 3 against that Croatian team, Zagreb. I know they're a decent team, but to lose 3-0 like that was so embarrassing, especially in a competition we really wanted to win. We had a lot of eggs in that basket this season. It meant a lot to try and win the Europa League. It was another route into the Champions League and a way to break the trophy hoodoo, and to chuck it away like we did was really, really embarrassing. And yeah, I mean, we were furious. You saw how angry we were after that game, but it did hurt a lot losing that game, and it was embarrassing. It really was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. And number 4, it is the Champions League final, that 27-second Champions League final. Moussa Sissoko obviously handballing it to give Liverpool a penalty within the first minute of the game, and then obviously Spurs going on to lose that game, which you got to say that it was just classic Spurs, wasn't it, that Champions League final? And also probably one of the worst Champions League finals that I can ever remember.
Shocking final, but there was so much build-up. The way we got there, you know, everything was like written for Tottenham, was like written in the stars.
The 2 greatest semi-finals ever.
Yeah, you've never seen 2 better semi-finals than the Ajax and the Liverpool-Barcelona ones. It was unbelievable. And you just thought, like, the way the semi-final went and the way the quarterfinals went, you just thought it was... And the way the group stages went as well, it was all kind of written for Spurs. Like everyone, like it was like our name was on the trophy. We all believed that, especially with, you know, we had that whole month build up as well to the final. Everyone was so happy, like you couldn't wipe the smiles of the Spurs fans' face going into that final, and then for it to be over with that dodgy handball decision within 20 seconds. Against the best defence in Europe, you know it was going to be a big uphill task from then on, and we end up losing. But you will just never know what would have happened if that penalty didn't go in, never given.
Lost.
I don't know. Honestly, we're just never going to know. We're never going to know, and that hurts. That hurts at not knowing, and what could have been if
that's a proper
penalty.
What if moment. Isn't
Literally,
it?
What if? What could have been? Because I actually think at the end of the day, we're probably just about the better team in that final.
I mean, there wasn't much in it. It was a poor final.
I know, but I think we're the ones who created more chances and stuff like that, and you just never know what would have happened had that penalty not gone in. But 20 seconds in, and that was over, and they're really, really hurt.
I mean, I've said it time and time again, but I just wish I could live life on loop from the end of that Man City game until just kickoff of the Champions League final. That period of life was absolutely, oh man, it's just so good. So good.
Shame.
Let's move on to number 3, and we've got 3 to talk about in number 3, and all 3 of them we took a 3-0 lead and gave them all up. first one we're talking about is 3-0 up against Manchester United at half-time, and we ended up losing the game 5-3. And I remember that game, that second half of Manchester United were just irresistible. Beckham, Van Nistelrooy, you know, proper prime Man United at the time, and they completely took us to the sword. And we were an awful side at that time.
Terrible. And we were lucky to be 3-0 up, like, in terms of the team we were. But we actually played really well in that first half. But, yeah, Man United came roaring back and we had no answer. And that was, like, one of the first times, like, someone's lost, like, a 3-0 lead. Or we have, as a Spurs team, lost a 3-0 lead and gone on to lose the game. But it wasn't the last time, unfortunately.
Exactly, as we did it in the FA Cup to Manchester City, a poor Manchester City, might I add. 3-0 up at half-time. Joey Barton gets sent off for some bickering with the ref or something. So we're all licking our lips. He was there. I wasn't there because my dad punished me and said that you can't go to this game because I did something wrong and I got punished. And when you guys walked back through the door, I said, "Thank you, Dad. Best punishment ever."
Best punishment ever,
and yeah, so we go 3-0 up. Half-time, Joey Barton gets sent off. And then we end up losing that game 4-3. John Macken scoring the winning goal in the last minute of the game. And it was just absolutely shocking.
Never seen anything like that. To come back from 3-0 down when you're down to 10 men as well and win 4-3, that is unacceptable. And Kevin Keegan as well. There were all the rumours that if he would have lost that game, he was going to get sacked and everything. And he ended up somehow turning it around. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how. It was one of those miraculous recoveries I've ever seen in my life from anyone. And how to get against Spurs, classic Tottenham being 3-0 up and absolutely cruising at half-time. Scored some great goals. Ziga scored a great free kick. And then we end up losing 4-3. The last minute, John Macken, one of the worst strikers I've ever seen, scoring a last-minute winner. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Number 2.
And also, you forgot the West Ham one as well.
Oh, the West Ham one, yeah. This season, West Ham, obviously, 3-0 up. Lanzini at the end making it 3-3. Absolutely shocking.
What's more impressive, to win 4-3 when you're down to 10 men, or to come back from 3-0 down with 7 minutes to go?
Ooh. I think coming back with 7 minutes to go.
7 minutes is more impressive.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
I actually think winning with 10 men is more impressive.
Interesting. Well, let's see what the comments say. What do you think is more impressive? But let's move on to number 2. And we're talking about LASAGNE-GATE in 2005. Martin Jol, we nearly finished above Arsenal yet again. We nearly got Champions League in 2005. All we had to do was get a draw, was it, at Upton Park? Was it a draw we needed?
I think we needed, if Arsenal won, we needed a win, I think.
Right. And that was Arsenal's last game at Highbury against Wigan. So they were always going to win that game. So I guess we needed a win that day.
Well, half-time we were both drawing, so we were actually going through.
Yeah,
but yeah, we needed a win.
And that morning of the game, the whole Tottenham side go down with food poisoning from this dodgy lasagna in the team hotel that night. And how unlucky can a team get? You're going for the biggest game in your recent history, to make it into the Champions League for the first time ever, to finish above Arsenal for the first time in the Premier League era, and you go down with lasagna food poisoning.
Not only that, we were literally 4th. Literally that whole season. Literally from like November onwards, we were literally in the top 4 the whole way through. And I remember we had that game against Arsenal at Highbury, Arsenal's London at Highbury. We were 1-0 up pretty much the whole game as well. We took an early lead, and then they scored literally a last-minute winner.
Henry comes on with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, and he scores a last-minute equaliser, to keep Arsenal in the hunt, because we would have won that game, would have finished it then and there. And they gets the last-minute equaliser, keeps Arsenal just about hanging in there by a thread, and it goes into the last game knowing Spurs, if all they need to do is concentrate on themselves, we get the win, we get the top 4. And then I remember waking up that morning, and my dad wakes me up. He goes, no, so I went to school that morning. I thought we had Sunday school, whatever. And he comes back from Sunday school, and he was like, "Oh, you heard all the Tottenham squad have food poisoning." I was like, "Yeah, good one, Dad." He was like, "No, I'm being serious." I was like, "What are you chatting about?" He's like, "Yeah, well, they all have food poisoning. They don't know what team they're going to cover. They're calling Johnny Jackson in from the reserves. They don't know what's going on." I'm like, "You can't be serious. Not today. Any day but today. Please, not today." And I couldn't believe I was living a nightmare that day. I was like, "No, this can't be."
You remember players like Carrick throwing up on the side of the pitch.
I couldn't believe it. And then we end up. And then of all teams,
didn't Teddy Sheringham score against us that day?
No, he actually missed a penalty.
He missed a penalty. That was it.
Teddy Sheringham missed a penalty.
Agent Sheringham tried to do his best.
Of all teams as well to be playing against on that day had to be West Ham, who couldn't be more motivated to knock us out of the top 4.
Yeah.
They were literally on their tails. They literally couldn't be more happy. We couldn't be facing a worse team pretty much to face on that day. And West Ham duly obliged. They scored a last-minute winner of Yossi Benayoun. Arsenal went on to win 4-2 in their last ever game in Highbury.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. We didn't get the Champions League. We didn't end up getting the Champions League for another 5 years. And that was a massive curse.
I remember where I was watching that game. I was watching it in a pub, and the pub had both games on, and it was packed to the right. Literally, you were standing like that in the pub. You couldn't move, and it was half Tottenham, half Arsenal. I promise you, I got out of there so quick after that final whistle. I couldn't believe it. I literally just pelted it out the door. It was
man, that was
one of the
worst.
worst memories.
That was the worst.
And number one is a painful one. It really is a painful one. It is when Chelsea won the Champions League to knock us out the Champions League, which made them change the law after that, so no one would suffer like the Tottenham fans suffered on that day. And I just remember it, we finished fourth, tried so hard to get fourth the whole season, only for Champions League to be taken away from us by Chelsea winning the Champions League in the most luckiest fashion as well. Throughout that run, Messi missing penalties, scraping through against Bayern Munich. I mean, it just pains me just thinking about it.
It all started, man. That season was the most plagued thing I think I've ever seen in football. First of all, a few years before that, Everton and Liverpool, Everton got fourth and Liverpool won the Champions League, and they hadn't made a rule for if that happened. So they made a rule then. They allowed it. They allowed Liverpool and Everton the Champions League. And they made it so from then on only the Champions League winner will get it. So a Champions League winner would knock you up the top four from that season on. So obviously it happens to us.
Yeah, and then that season they changed it again.
And then from that season after we get screwed, they changed it back so both teams could be let in. But it all started that season pretty much because we were riding high. We were challenging even the top. We were third place, challenging even the league title 1 point, and then it all started to go wrong because bloody John Terry decides to be racist against Anton Ferdinand. It also actually stemmed from that because that happened. He was then stripped of the captaincy. Then Fabio Capello disagreed with him being stripped of the captaincy, so he resigned. Because he resigned, the England job was available. Then Harry Redknapp gets linked with the England job. Tottenham take their eye off the boil. They after they're riding high, we got on a really bad run of form. We drop out from third to fourth. That last day of the season as well, we honestly Arsenal should have lost, but Martin Fulop chucks away 3 goals into his own net to give Arsenal a win. Literally 3 of the worst goalkeeping mistakes, by the way, you're ever going to see in a football game. Which makes Arsenal beat West Brom to beat us to third place. So we're in fourth. Chelsea somehow, I've never seen a luckier run to a Champions League final.
Luckier than ours?
Lucky, I think it's a lot. Honestly, I think it's 10 times luckier than our one. The way they beat Barcelona in that semi-final with their backs against the wall, Messi missing penalties. They went down to John Terry got sent off in the semi-final, yet they somehow
Ramirez somehow goes through on goal.
They were 2-0 down and down to 10 men, and somehow scraped their way through. And Messi missing penalties,
Did Torres score that game?
Yeah, Torres in the last minute.
Yeah.
But I remember as well, even in the first leg, they won 1-0 Chelsea, and they were absolutely battered by Barcelona. Yet Barcelona were hitting the post, shots off the line. They just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. I've never seen anything like it. Got to the final even. It got to the final where I remember watching this game in the final, thinking, okay, Barca and Bayern, a massive favourites, Bayern Munich, for this game. It's in Munich as well. They're literally at home in a Champions League final. Chelsea having no John Terry. They've got a ragtag. They've got starting Ryan Bertrand at left wing as well. I couldn't believe. I think everything is going in Bayern's favour in this final. They're battering Chelsea. The whole final. They end up getting a last-minute goal. They literally scored in the 85th minute, Bayern, to go 1-0 up. You're thinking, okay, finally we're going to be in Champions League. It was like watching Spurs because Bayern. I was watching because if Bayern win, we're in Champions League. They finally score in the last minute. Okay, fine. Okay, I can rest. Bayern are winning this.
Drogba.
And then Drogba in stoppage time gets an equaliser. You're thinking, oh my God, I can't believe it. And then it goes to extra time. You're thinking, okay, maybe Bayern can get extra time. Bayern get a penalty in extra time. Ribery gets fouled. You're thinking, Bayern get a penalty. Okay, finally, scored a penalty.
You're literally making me relive these moments. It's so
it was
painful.
Unbelievable. Then Bayern, then he missed the penalty. Like Petr Cech saves the penalty. You think, oh, for God's sake. And then he goes to penalties. You're thinking, okay, can they somehow go through on penalties? There's still, the Bayern crowd behind them. Then Chelsea missed the first penalty. You're thinking, okay, it's all going for us again. Then Fucking Schweinsteiger missed. I think someone else missed. Chelsea somehow lucked their way to the Champions League final, knocks us out the Champions League.
Probably
that
the
is
only
the
time
most cursed
ever
thing.
a German team has lost to an English team on penalties.
Honestly, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I can't think of a more cursed thing than all things that conspired to knock Tottenham out of the Champions League that season, and that all stemmed from John Terry, but early in the season, and it all culminated, like the dominoes fell all the way to Spurs being knocked out of the Champions League, and that had to be number one for me.
All right, well there you have it. I'm not going to repeat all those plagues because after
that was a tough video.
Yeah, after going through that, I just
man.
look, I don't know, I'm a bit of a mess right now thinking about all that stuff. But look, thank you for joining us all. If you like these kind of specials, do let us know in the comment section below, and we'll try bring you more of them, because we know it's not Passover every day, but we'll try bring some relating content for you for these kind of days. But look, let us know in the comment section below if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.